Have you ever met someone and felt an immediate connection, as if you've known them your entire life? Or perhaps you've visited a place for the first time, yet experienced an overwhelming sense of familiarity that you can't explain. These moments, that seem to transcend our present reality, aren't just fascinating coincidences. According to Edgar Cayce, America's most documented psychic, they're glimpses into the deeper architecture of our soul's journey. I'm going to take you on a journey into one of the most profound aspects of Cayce's work, soul contracts and past lives. This isn't about fortune-telling or mystical predictions. It's about understanding the spiritual blueprints that may be guiding your relationships, challenges, and purpose in this lifetime. As we explore these concepts, I invite you to reflect on your own experiences. Those unexplainable connections, recurring patterns, and deep intuitive knowings that have shaped your path. By the end of this video, you may see them in an entirely new light. Before we were born into this physical reality, Edgar Cayce suggested that our souls made agreements, contracts, if you will, with other souls. These agreements weren't signed on paper, but etched into the very essence of our being. Think about the most significant relationships in your life. The parent who challenged you to grow beyond your comfort zone. The friend who appeared exactly when you needed guidance. The partner who reflects both your greatest strengths and deepest wounds. According to Cayce's readings, these aren't random encounters, but carefully orchestrated reunions. Cayce's work with thousands of individuals revealed that souls often travel together through multiple lifetimes, playing different roles to help each other learn specific lessons. He called this phenomenon soul groups, clusters of souls who have agreed to support each other's evolution across the tapestry of time. One particularly moving case from Cayce's readings involved a woman who had an inexplicable fear of water, despite never having a traumatic experience with it in her current life. Through a reading, Cayce revealed that in a previous incarnation, she had drowned while trying to save a child, who happened to be her son in her present life. The fear was a residual memory, but the relationship with her son was a soul contract, continuing across lifetimes. Consider for a moment, who in your life feels like more than just a casual acquaintance? Is there someone whose presence seems destined, as if the universe conspired to bring you together? These may be the soul contracts Cayce spoke about, agreements made beyond the veil of physical existence. In America today, we place enormous value on independence and free will. And while Cayce's readings affirm our freedom to choose our path, they also suggest that we've set certain spiritual intentions before arriving here. Like landmarks on a map, these soul contracts don't force our journey, but provide meaningful destinations and companions along the way. How can we recognize the influence of past lives in our current experience? Cayce's readings provide several indicators that resonate with many Americans' experiences today. First are unexplainable fears or phobias, a person with no traumatic experience of heights in this lifetime who nevertheless experiences debilitating anxiety when standing on a balcony, may be carrying the memory of a fall from a previous incarnation. These aren't just psychological quirks, but potential windows into our soul's history. Then there are the skills and talents that seem to come effortlessly, what we might call natural gifts. The child who sits at a piano for the first time and plays intuitively, the person who picks up a paintbrush and creates with the confidence of someone who's done it for decades. Cayce suggested these abilities aren't always learned from scratch, but remembered from past experiences. Places can trigger past life memories too. Many Americans travel to Boston, Charleston, or Santa Fe and feel an unexpected emotional response to specific streets or buildings. Cayce would interpret these as potential reconnections with locations from previous incarnations. One of Cayce's most compelling cases involved a man from Virginia who had recurring dreams about living as a craftsman in colonial Williamsburg. He could describe with remarkable accuracy the layout of workshops and homes that had long been demolished. When historical records were consulted, details from his dreams were verified, despite the man having no prior knowledge of these specifics. What aspects of your life feel like they've been with you forever? What places call to you without logical explanation? What relationships feel like they're continuing a conversation that began long ago? In our modern American society, we often seek therapy or medication for persistent emotional patterns. While these approaches have their place, Cayce's perspective adds another dimension to consider. That recurring relationship dynamic or emotional trigger might not just be from your childhood. It could be the continuation of a soul lesson spanning centuries. So how do we work with this knowledge in our everyday lives here in America? During these complex times, Cayce offers practical wisdom that feels remarkably relevant nearly a century after his readings. First, he emphasized that past lives aren't meant to be an escape from present responsibilities. The purpose of recognizing these patterns isn't to dwell in the past, but to bring healing and understanding to the present. Whether you're struggling with career challenges in New York City or relationship patterns in rural Nebraska, the insight from past life awareness is meant to empower your current choices. Cayce suggested specific practices for accessing this. Soul wisdom. Meditation was chief among them, creating quiet space to allow impressions to rise from deeper levels of consciousness. In his reading 1861-19, he stated, "The mind is the builder, the physical is the result." This fundamental Cayce principle suggests that our mental and spiritual states literally construct our physical reality. In our hyper-connected American culture where screen time dominates, the average American now spends over 7 hours daily on digital devices. Even 5 minutes of still reflection can open doorways to soul memory. Cayce recommended a simple approach. Sit quietly with spine straight, breathe deeply, and pose a clear question to your higher self about a pattern you're experiencing. Then, without forcing anything, allow images, feelings, or insights to arise. Naturally, journaling was another tool Cayce strongly advocated. He suggested what we might now call stream of consciousness writing, allowing thoughts to flow without censorship or judgment. Writing about your inexplicable attractions, aversions, and recurring dreams can reveal patterns pointing to past life influences. Many Americans who've tried this practice report surprising insights emerging when they review their entries over time. Particularly powerful is recording your dreams immediately upon waking. Cayce considered dreams as potential windows into the soul's longer journey. In reading 575443, he noted that dreams can be the experiences of the soul in its journeys through the various realms, suggesting they sometimes contain glimpses of past incarnations. Spending time in nature was another Cayce recommendation for reconnecting with soul memory. The natural world, less filtered through human constructs, can trigger deeper awareness. Many Americans report profound moments of déjà vu or unexpected emotional responses when visiting certain landscapes. The red rocks of Sedona, the mists of the Appalachian Mountains, or the rugged Maine coastline. These responses might indicate soul resonance with places from previous incarnations. Creative expression provides another pathway to soul memory. Cayce noted that artistic pursuits often tap into abilities and interests developed across multiple lifetimes. The jazz musician in New Orleans who plays with a depth beyond their years of training. The potter in New Mexico, whose hands seem to remember ancient techniques. The dancer whose body instinctively knows movements they've never been taught. These might all be accessing what Cayce called soul talents, abilities cultivated across multiple incarnations. Interestingly, Cayce also suggested investigating your family lineage as a window into possible past lives. Many Americans today feel drawn to genealogy research. With ancestry websites becoming increasingly popular, Cayce proposed that we often reincarnate within the same soul groups, sometimes within the same biological families across generations. That inexplicable interest in a particular historical period or culture might be more than casual curiosity. It could be recognition. Prayer was central to Cayce's own spiritual practice and recommendations, not as petition, but as communion with higher consciousness. In reading 2533-8, he suggested that prayer is the concerted effort of the physical consciousness to become attuned to the consciousness of the Creator. Through this alignment, insights about our soul's journey often emerge naturally. One powerful account from Cayce's files involved a woman in Chicago who had always felt drawn to helping disadvantaged children, despite having a successful career in finance. Through meditation and reflection on this calling, she received impressions of a past life as a teacher who had failed to protect students during a crisis. Her current desire to serve wasn't just a random preference, but a soul-level commitment to complete unfinished business. After acknowledging this connection, her volunteer work took on deeper meaning and fulfillment. Another case involved a man from Arizona with an inexplicable affinity for ancient Egyptian culture and hieroglyphics. Through consistent meditation and dream work, as Cayce suggested, he began receiving clear impressions of a life as a scribe in the Old Kingdom period. The fascinating aspect wasn't just the historical details he could access, many later verified by research, but how this understanding transformed his current life. His modern work in communications took on new purpose, and certain relationship patterns finally made sense within this larger context. Cayce emphasized that the ultimate purpose of recognizing past lives is service, using these insights to better fulfill your soul's mission in this lifetime. In reading 2823.1, he stated, "Each soul enters with a mission, an opportunity, a privilege. Understanding your soul contracts doesn't exempt you from present challenges, but helps you engage with them more purposefully. Consider your own life's recurring themes, the challenges that seem to follow you despite your best efforts to resolve them, the passions that burn within you without obvious origin, the inexplicable knowing you sometimes feel about certain situations or people. These may be the threads of your soul's journey across time, waiting to be recognized and integrated. In our American culture that prizes novelty and reinvention, there's profound value in recognizing the continuity of our soul's evolution. Your current life isn't a disconnected chapter, but part of a longer story, one that your soul has been writing across the ages. While we celebrate individuality and freedom, Cayce's work reminds us that we're also beings with spiritual histories that inform our present purposes. When you begin working with these practices, meditation, journaling, creative expression, nature connection, ancestry exploration, and intentional prayer, pay attention to what Cayce called soul nudges. These subtle, intuitive pushes toward certain paths or away from others aren't random. They're the language of your deeper self, guiding you toward fulfilling the contracts you made before arriving in this lifetime. As one Cayce scholar from Boston discovered, the past isn't behind us, it's within us. By acknowledging and integrating these soul memories, we don't become trapped in history, but freed to move forward with greater awareness and purpose. Perhaps the most powerful aspect of Cayce's work with past lives was its healing potential. He didn't just identify past incarnations for curiosity's sake, but to bring resolution to present struggles. Physical ailments sometimes had roots in past life experiences, according to Cayce. A client with chronic neck pain discovered through a reading that they had experienced trauma to that area in a previous life. When they acknowledged and processed the emotional content connected to that event, their physical symptoms often improved. This perspective doesn't replace modern medicine. Cayce himself advocated for conventional healthcare alongside spiritual healing, but it does offer an additional dimension to consider when addressing persistent issues. Many integrative medical practices across America today acknowledge that emotional and spiritual factors can influence physical health. Echoing what Cayce proposed decades ago, relationship healing was another area where past life awareness brought transformation. One of Cayce's most touching cases involved a mother and daughter in Virginia who had a strained relationship despite both their efforts to improve it. A reading revealed they had been rivals in a previous life, with unresolved bitterness carrying over. With this understanding, they were able to consciously choose forgiveness and build a new foundation. Think about your own challenging relationships. Is there someone with whom you feel a complex mix of love and difficulty? Someone who triggers you in ways that seem disproportionate to your actual history together? Cayce would suggest these might be soul contracts designed for mutual healing, opportunities to resolve what remained unfinished in previous encounters. Across America today, many people feel a sense of purpose they can't fully articulate, a calling that goes beyond career ambitions or personal goals. Cayce's work suggests this might be your soul's intention, finding expression in this lifetime. By honoring these deep intuitive pulls, you align with what your higher self planned for this incarnation. The path to healing isn't about escaping your challenges, but moving through them with greater awareness. Whether you're in the bustling streets of Los Angeles or the quiet farmlands of Iowa, your soul's journey continues. And with each conscious choice to grow and heal, you fulfill agreements made long before this lifetime began. Edgar Cayce's work offers us a broader perspective on our lives, one that extends beyond our birth and continues after our physical death. This understanding doesn't diminish the importance of our current experiences, but enriches them with deeper meaning and purpose. As you move forward from this video, I invite you to pay attention to the synchronicities in your life, those meaningful coincidences that seem to guide you towards certain people, places, or experiences. In Cayce's framework, these aren't random events, but potential signposts from your soul's larger journey. Notice your deepest, most persistent interests and talents, especially those that don't have obvious origins in your upbringing. These might be skills and passions carried forward from previous lifetimes, waiting to be developed further in this one, and perhaps most importantly, approach your most challenging relationships with curiosity. The people who trigger your strongest emotional responses may be soul companions who've agreed to help you grow even when that growth involves difficulty. We're all writing our soul stories together here in America and across the world, stories that didn't begin with our birth and won't end with our passing. By recognizing the larger patterns at work, we can make more conscious choices about how we contribute to this continuing narrative. If something in this video resonated with you, an explanation that clicked into place, or a perspective that opened new understanding, share your experience in the comments below. Our collective wisdom creates a tapestry of insight that benefits everyone on this journey of soul discovery. Until next time, may you recognize the sacred contracts guiding your path, and may you fulfill them with awareness and grace.